Okay, we're tapped in. Yeah, you ready?
Yeah, yeah. And thanks
Oh,
for.
hold on one sec. Okay. 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, Paul. It's good to see you again. Sort of.
Yeah. Thanks for doing this, huh? Interval's only a couple months away. Cutting it close.
As usual.
Yeah, as usual. Now, this is your first time running this, right?
Yeah. Dominick, Paul asked me to do it. And that was kind of a shock. I'd never done it before. And I didn't think I was going to be able to, but Paul let me use his place. And it's actually been a lot of fun. It's been great. I've always wanted to talk to you guys more. And this has facilitated that. I wish we could do this all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Easier said than done, though, huh? But I'm glad you're having fun.
So anyway, but look at you, huh? You look good. You got gloves too now. Huh? Is that necessary? Are you gonna steal something in here?
Well, it's my signature. So,
Gloves are your signature?
no, the red. Everybody calls me Red in the burglary community.
Burglary community, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And so, now what color? Now that's not exactly a red, right? What color is that?
Yeah, of course. This is a beautiful red.
It's in the red family.
It's red. It's red.
Okay. You don't think it's a little closer to pink?
Okay. Oh, I see now. You're colorblind. All right. Yeah, pink. Okay, guy.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, I see it now in the lighting. Very red. Very extremely red. I'm just messing with you. Hey, man, you really came through for me with the watch.
Oh, yeah, right. That was pretty interesting. That warehouse?
Now, how did you know where to find it? Because I'd only heard rumors
Well,
about the watch. Rumors about the watch.
yeah. Well, in my line of work as a professional, we know where all things of great value are. So when you described that artifact, I instantly, well, it was obvious where it was stored.
Well, thank you.
I was actually just leaving the Dakotas when you called. So yeah, serendipitous. But that place is pretty hard to crack. But I was there, and it felt well. I gave it a go.
Well, I owe you, man.
No big deal. I take care of you. We do things for each other. So how did you come to know about that watch?
Well, actually, it was Lily, my little one here. She's right here somewhere. As my little conspiracy theorist, she's always online. She put it together. She showed me. It looked convincing. And she knows I love shows that aren't on anymore, like Wings and
Oh, I love Wings.
yeah, and Chuck and Cheers and all that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a real interesting piece. Do you know the provenance?
No, I don't.
Well, most of what I know is from about 100 years ago. There was an amateur inventor in New York named Samuel Lawrence Serling. And this was around around the Depression. It was, in fact, during the Depression. Serling would help his family escape the sorrows and realities of the Depression by reading to his kids, popular tales, and it would transport their minds to new places, wondrous places without the problems of this world. And Serling looked around at his neighbors in his city, all that sorrow, and he wanted to do more, for as many people as possible. And as I said, he was an inventor, right? So he locked himself in his basement and he toiled and toiled away. And actually, what he was trying to invent was a time machine.
Wow, impressive.
Yeah, he wanted to try to undo the Great Depression. And of course, he failed and failed and failed. And everybody around him, during the Depression, the sorrow that weighed on, that really weighed on him. And so he worked on it day and night. He put everything into it because he had so much love for everybody. And of course, throughout it all, he still read to his kids, took them into wondrous worlds, giving them any amount of joy they can have. But eventually, at some point, he was about to give up. He was really broken, very broken. But he gave it one more try. And as you know, it's a little thing looks like a watch, a wristwatch, right? And so he tried it again, and the story goes, he thought it failed. So he turned off the lights, went upstairs, decided to go outside and get some air. He walks outside, lights up a cigarette, and, finally has this moment to rest, to exhale, to relax his shoulders, and to really open his eyes. And there, looking back at him, was this beautiful woman, a familiar woman, right? He looked around and he thought, maybe he was dreaming.
It worked?
So he looked around and he saw Petruchio, a familiar Petruchio, right? It was actually Douglas Fairbanks. He realized the woman in front of him was Mary Pickford.
Whoa, so it transported him to the film set, to a whole nother location. That was like Shakespeare, right?
Taming of the Shrew. And no, it didn't transport him to the set in California.
So where was he? Back in time? No, you said Mary Pickford.
So he was confused and excited, and he just kind of screamed out, "Hey, Mary, Miss Pickford," but nothing, right? And he looked around, no crew, no camera, no director. And it was then that he remembered he had already seen this movie at the theater. And he looked at his watch as if to check for the time, and then it hit him. He saw what was on his wrist, and it hit him. He had transported himself into that fictional world. The watch was imbued with the power to allow one to leave their own reality.
Man.
Yeah. And he realized, time travel to him, likely impossible, right? But what he was really thinking and feeling was he wanted to be in a better place, right? A place that was not full of sorrow. He wanted people to be living in a world that couldn't exist at that time.
Wow, so he could go into fiction.
Yeah, yeah. And so he used this watch to make his family happier, his kids, to shield them from the depression. And he tried to reproduce others, make more for others. And when he was doing that, his sons really got a handle of the watch, for lack of a better term, and they really took to it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, and I'm sure what his son did with that watch.
Yeah.
He was able to visit fictional worlds and share them with everyone. With the advent of the TV, and in a way, Lawrence's desire to make people happy, to make people be able to dream again, it really came true. His son showed everyone new worlds, different worlds, alternative worlds. He showed us how easily things can be different. What we want or what we don't want, what we could have become.
Yeah.
And so after that, Lily and I lost track of it. But eventually, Lily found
In that warehouse.
some vague information about a warehouse, just a warehouse in South Dakota. And that's when I asked you to look into it.
Amazing. So what are your plans for it?
Well, I want to visit Antonio, and Joe and Helen, Casey and Brian, and Mr. Monk, right? I mean, I miss them. I always want to spend some time with them,
Yeah. So you're all set now, huh? We're never going to see you again because you're going to be in all the great fiction. Wait, but what about your family?
Well, it's more complex than that. First, it's not like lining, right? You don't come back to the same point you left. But at some point in the last 50 years, the watch was damaged. There was I don't know if you looked at it, but the text on the inventory tag, there was a warning that the watch and the user could be degraded or destroyed beyond 5 uses, potentially.
Wow, really? The user, too? Damn, that sucks.
Well, yes and no. I've already used it once. I went back and I brought something back with me. Something built by a wizard.
Oh, wow. This is getting interesting.
Nikola Tesla had built a device that turns out could duplicate things, anything. So right before it was going to be destroyed, I knew where it was going to be, and I was able to bring it back here safely.
Oh, okay. So wait. How are you going to use it now?
Well, so now that I'm back, I have 3 more uses, right? A fourth, and the person would maybe be killed, and the watch would no longer work. I don't know for sure, but I'm not going to take that chance.
Wait. Why didn't you just go back to the Sun show and get the watch there?
Well, if I did, it would never have ended up at the warehouse, and you wouldn't have been able to get it for me.
Oh, right.
So now my plan is to duplicate myself.
Oh,
and then,
boy, more Pauls.
Wait up. And then also duplicate the watch, which itself has 3 more uses. And then I can send the other me's into the fictional realities that I want to visit. And then they can come back, tell me about it, and then they would have 1 more use, and then they can go somewhere into another reality and stay forever if they want it.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. You should record those when you interview them. I'd love to hear those stories.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. But yeah, thank you, because none of that would be possible without you. You've lived up to your reputation.
I do, but it's no problem. Anything for you, Paul.
So tell me about this burglar community. Yeah, I'm fascinated by this trade. The professionalism, the strategy.
Well, as you might know, for me, burglary is really just a hobby to keep fresh on the technology and strategy, but also for the stress relief. It's really a lot like yoga. It keeps you limber, gets you centered and focused. I'm not thinking about the bigger stuff, assassinations, black market nuke sales, hacking, warlords, all the grand plans. It's really just me time. And, of course, the camaraderie of it all.
Camaraderie. I would think burglars are competitors, no?
Well, professionals. No. Professional burglars are actually a very congenial group. We have BurgCon every year. We share lots of tutorials on YouTube. In fact, I'm one of the top burglars on Interface. I love teaching. And sometimes we even bump into each other during a job.
You run into burglars while you are burglaring?
Oh, yeah, it happens. Because good burglars do their research. So it's not uncommon for two burglars or even more to identify the same sweet shop.
Sweet shop?
Yeah, sweet shop, candy store, it's burglar lingo for good location.
Okay. So what's some other lingo burglars use?
Well, there's sesame seeding.
Sesame seeding?
Yeah, it's a newer term.
And what's that?
Well, so unfortunately, even in the burglar industry, we do have a gender gap problem. So sesame seeding is when we in the business identify women with potential and we open doors for them in the industry. It's still quite predominantly male, but we're going to make it happen. We are. Whatever it takes, whatever it takes, we're going to ensure women have more representation in burglary.
Wow, that's great of you to be proactive on that front. Now, how did you originally get into this? Was this like a family thing?
No, it wasn't. Actually, it started with me when I was very young. One of my very first exposures to it was probably a magazine subscription I had to Safecrackers Monthly.
Come on, son.
No, really, it's a real thing. It was really great. I learned all the methods, guessing, brute force, obviously, but also scoping, balancing, volcanoing, all sorts of methods. And, other skills, lockpicking, lifting, dropping, duping, distractions, that's huge. Whirly birding.
Wow.
And then early on, I almost got caught on my first job.
Really?
I didn't even get anything. But there was another burglar there that just barely saved me from getting caught. And so he took me under his wing, taught me the craft. And so I learned a lot from Illegal Lee.
And who was it that took you in?
Illegal Lee.
Yeah, but what was their name?
That was his name. He was a Chinese man, Mr. Lee. But he went by the nickname Illegal Lee.
Oh, okay. That's clever.
Yeah, burglars are a lighthearted, fun group. But, he was the first one to call me Red. And I never went by that. But recently I found out he passed away. So since then I've been going by Red in his honor.
Oh, that's nice. Now, did he see those? Did he think those were red? Or you don't know? Or you didn't ask? Okay. So now, technique-wise, how good are... Whoa! Oh! How in the heck did you do that? That's my wife's. When did you... What? Wow, you are good. I didn't even see you move. It just like appeared. Now, you didn't go shopping in that warehouse, did you?
Well, that was all skill. All skill.
That was just skill? No way. Come on. Oh, how'd you get that? How'd you get that? Whoa. Don't rub it. Don't rub it.
Oh, it has an original finish?
I have my original penis. How unrelated. So, during a burglary, Have you ever ran into the people that own the house?
Yeah, yeah. Well, either way, you have to plan for that. You plan to avoid it, but it could happen. So you do have to have some strategies.
What do you do if that happens?
Well, there's the Esteban.
Esteban?
Yeah, that's. Oh, so okay. So let me back up. If the job has the potential for people to be there, let's say this is like residential, and there's a husband and wife, you have to know this stuff beforehand. So I dress for the burglary as if I'm going out. Tight white jeans, a nice Hawaiian shirt, a few of the top buttons undone.
Okay.
And so if I run into the couple, what you do is you act as if you're one of their lovers.
You act like the wife, so like an affair.
Or the husbands, it depends.
Wow. And they believe you?
Well, the thing is, see, in that moment, they were expecting a burglar, hearing a noise at night and all that. So when they see me, and I usually wear a big mustache, they're confused. They're shocked. Then I say something like, Samantha, I cannot wait for you to leave Tomas. We must have our love ahora.
An accent too, okay.
Well, you do have to sell it. Now, the moment I say one of their names, they are really shocked. It's like yanking that fishing line. They're permanently in my story.
And so what do they do?
Well, usually people are upset. There's crying, denial, and that's when I slip out. More than once, things have taken a surprising turn, if you know what I mean.
Okay. That's, okay.
Yeah, it's an exit strategy, Hopefully you never have to use it. But yeah, many exit strategies are about bringing them momentarily into another reality.
Like confusion and persuasion.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, you're kind of like the guy, right? I mean, you have access to all this underground stuff, black markets.
Oh, yeah. There's an incredibly diverse criminal network that exists in society that over the centuries has evolved. One of the largest today is known as amaretto.
Amaretto? That's like a flavored drink, right?
Yeah, it's an Italian liquor, but there's no relation. It's also spelled differently. It's coincidental. And the organization is mostly based in Italy, but that's also coincidental.
So this is like a mob family?
Oh, no, not at all. It's known as amaretto now, and it's in Italy now, but its roots are thousands of years old. It's transformed many times over, migrated across many countries, out of necessity. But the majority of the organization is decentralized.
So what do they do?
Well, they do everything. Well, they facilitate everything. They keep the players in line. They ensure there's honor in contracts, no underhanded competition. Because, most organizations eat themselves from within.
Okay. So kind of like regulations.
Yeah. And they facilitate a marketplace and standards, reconciliation, and they arbitrate any issues in the community, which can be a delicate task. When you're dealing with moral fluidity, honor has to be maintained with zero tolerance because honor is morally ambiguous.
I've always wanted to snoop on people, like have them followed but it's really expensive.
Oh, you mean like hiring a private investigator?
Yeah. I mean, I guess. Are there other options?
Oh, sure. I mean, how much do you want to spend?
Well, a PI charges about $10,000 a month, and that's to keep tabs on one person, right? That's a lot.
Right. Well, it comes down to, how many people you want to keep tabs on, for how long, and to what resolution. You could buy software that can tag their phone, log their calls, activate their mic, capture everything on the screen, even activate their camera.
How much is that?
$100K.
Wow. I'm not good at metric, but that's still a lot. Okay, but so you would own it though, right? So you can keep tabs on a lot of people.
Well, yes, but okay. So here's the thing that most people don't understand about tagging other people. Getting access is easy and relatively cheap. The problem is curation.
Curation.
Yeah, so I mean, what do you do with hundreds and hundreds of hours of audio and video and screen captures every month? I mean, that's just for one target.
Oh, yeah.
So you see, that PI was $10K, but they're also doing curation, figuring out what the important information is from the non-important.
Right.
So in a way, that local PI is a deal, right? And $100K is actually a good deal, too, for what you can do with it. But it's overkill if it's just you because you won't be able to curate that much of the data stream. It is too much. I mean, you can hunt and peck and maybe you get lucky, but it's really like a fire hose.
Yeah, I see.
But what's really popular right now are services that will capture and curate for you. Now, these are also about $10K a month, maybe a little less, but you get great information really fast. Assuming there's, in fact, great information to get. So, and they charge by the day. So it's the type of thing where perhaps you can find out what you want to know in like less than a week.
Now, so how can they do that for so cheap?
Well, for one, it's a subscription service, so they have a guaranteed income. The least amount of time you can subscribe for is 1 year. And two, they can make up money in the margins. So you might have some targets that many people want information on. So they might be collecting information on a target, but are being paid by hundreds of their customers for the same information.
Oh, okay.
But now, so you're still relying on their curation. So they could miss something that, they didn't realize was important, or that maybe you didn't even realize existed, right? So maybe you want to know if Todd is cheating on his wife.
Todd.
And maybe he is, but maybe he's also embezzling from his work. That might be just as valuable to you, right? But because you would not have thought to ask about it.
Right. They might not even be looking there.
Right.
So $100,000 seems like a good deal if you need to really look at like 12 people, but you're not sure what you're looking for.
Well, so the packages rely on undisclosed hacks and exploits. So let's say you get the software today. All the exploits it uses might not work in 8 months.
So there's no updates.
No, right. But you can buy newer versions for a discount if you bought from them before.
Okay. Wow, that's nice. So it's really like a marketplace.
Oh, yeah. In fact, if you decide to connect with Amaretto, if you use my code, you can get access to discounts.
A discount code?
Well, it's more like a referral code. Yeah, you can use Red Rocks with an X. And so if you're referred in, you can take advantage of discounts without the waiting period. Sometimes they have a BOGO.
Buy one, get one free.
Yeah, or like buy one, get one half off. Usually during the summer, they'll do a buy one assassination and get another half off.
Assassination?
Yeah. And it could be a totally different assassination, right? So not like just two people at the same time.
Really? So why during the summer?
Well, summers are slow for assassins.
Really?
Yeah. See, during the year, most people have a routine. And it's really easy to assassinate somebody within their routine. Maybe, this person's gym has a parking garage with no cameras. So, you could just wipe a little carfentanil on their car door handle, maybe drop a small baggie of it underneath their car door. So it looks like, maybe it was even theirs.
Wow, that's insane.
What is?
People assassinating others with drugs?
Oh, yeah. It's hugely popular right now because, opioids are everywhere. It's easy to get, very cheap. The carfentanil form, you just touch a piece smaller than a grain of salt and you're done. So that's really popular. You can put it anywhere. But getting back, during the summer, one's schedule is more unpredictable and domestic assassinations become more expensive. So Amaretto subsidizes that a bit, to keep them working, keep the unions off their back.
So there's a union for assassins?
Oh, yeah, there's a union for everything, man. They're the biggest crooks of them all. I mean, they prop up assassinations, It's like, well, look, I like assassinations as much as the next guy. But I mean, I don't think we should be encouraging them.
Yeah. So what other types of services exist in this underworld?
Everything, man, everything. You can get death insurance.
Not life insurance?
So that's really like life exfiltration. So this is when, you've been caught doing some really illegal stuff and you're going to go away for a long time, right? Well, life usually, or death, right? This insurance will get you out of that cleanly, usually by faking your death or suicide, a body double, the whole 9 yards, otherwise they'll just keep looking for you.
Really?
That's expensive, right? That's for the people with the mega bucks. But I hope I didn't give you a bad impression of summer assassinations. Because to be honest, the summer's BOGOs, they're okay. But if the target travels, I mean, you can get the same thing done in other countries for 20 cents on the dollar. So, I'm letting you know that. We're not supposed to market that way, but I know you're not rich and you're not the typical clientele.
Well, I don't want to kill anybody or have anybody killed.
Well, okay. But I just wanted you to have complete information. You never know.
I know I'll never need somebody killed.
You don't have any enemies?
No, not really. Well, the sun.
The sun, like our star?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Don't stare. Right.
It's just he's very sensitive about his looks.
Oh, yeah, okay.
This is your last chance. If he doesn't help you, nobody will. Don't blow it.
Okay, I think this is him. I gotta go, okay?
Okay.
Are you Paul?
Yeah.
No, this.
And the ocean, maybe. Yeah, the ocean. Anyway, so this is so fascinating because this is like legal businesses operate.
Oh, yeah, it's all legit.
How do you transfer all this money? I mean, these must be large amounts we're talking about to pay for these things, right? Is it like all crypto now?
No, not really. There's still some apprehension about crypto. It's very easy to track. And, there's already such good instruments already in place.
Instruments.
Yeah, payment methods and schemes.
Like, what are some examples?
Well, there's the fine art market, of course, when you need to move tens of millions.
Right.
But that's rare because art is rare. But you have Vegas and Macau, gambling is a very easy and transparent way to lose $500K and nobody questions it, right? You're just a bad poker player.
Oh, yeah.
Orchestrated litigation, you have the person you want to pay sue you and you lose and that whole transfer is legit, right? It's open, it's counted. But I'd have to say the medical industry is really the gold standard for payment.
The medical industry, really? How is that involved?
Well, they're not knowingly involved. But, when somebody goes in for a surgery and that surgery costs $120,000, and the guy's rich, the guy doesn't have insurance, well, most likely there was no surgery and that's $100,000 payment for something.
No, that's insane. But, it makes perfect sense, though.
And, it's going to be hard for crypto to make headway into this industry because with medical payments, a lot of people have HSAs.
HSAs.
Health savings accounts. So you see, you can pay for an assassination using pre-tax dollars.
Oh, are you kidding me?
No, not at all.
That is genius. So that's why it's the preferred method. Wow, this is unbelievable. Unions, pre-tax savings, discount codes, commissions. It sounds so organized.
Well, it's like the saying goes, give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach a man a fish, he eats for his whole life. Rent that man a fishing pole in exchange for one fish a day, get a little taste. These are really comfortable chairs.
Yeah, everybody likes those. You can sit on them forward or backwards.
Really? No way.
Yeah. So, carfentanil, huh?
Yeah. And portobello mushrooms.
Portobello mushrooms? What, those are dangerous?
Oh, I don't even like being with them in a car that has bad suspension. Stay away from portobellos. Bite your head off, man. But yeah, people would be amazed at how pervasive the network is integrated into everyday life. Not just for criminals, the espionage industry as well. They kind of reinforce each other.
How so?
Well, look, spy agencies can hire great hackers. But these hackers are clean, otherwise they wouldn't get hired. Well, there are many more smart people that aren't clean, that couldn't get hired by a spy agency or, wouldn't even want to be hired by the spy agency.
Right.
I mean, look at how clever the cartels can be, right? I mean, the mob, organized crime, terrorists. Evil has incredibly smart people too. More, in fact.
Yeah, when I watch shows like Breaking Bad or Narcos, it's really amazing how ingenious these people are.
Yeah.
And, who knows if the stories are real, but, I mean, I imagine some are based on real events. But, I mean, someone still had to think of it, for the show, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can tell you there are tons of geniuses out there, on that side.
So, are you saying spies and criminals work together?
Well, that's not what I'm saying, but that's definitely true. What I'm saying is just that these organizations, like the ones that Amaretto represents, they are just as equipped, in fact, maybe even more so than spy agencies, because many times they supply the spy agencies indirectly, right? So incentive, but also supply the other side, whoever's being spied on.
Ah.
So you see, the criminal underground has twice the incentive as, say, a spy agency, because they supply, maybe indirectly both sides.
Yeah. Okay.
So, for example, you're aware of personalities like on the internet and smartphones?
Like avatars?
No. So, you know how to get into your bank account online or into the email on your phone? You supply a username and password, right?
Yeah.
Well, most major systems support personalities. So, for example, let's say your username is Paul Rocks with an X. Just for an example, okay? But most people are not aware that you can access different accounts by using different passwords.
Hmm.
So think about it. Let's say you're a US spy in China, right? And you're under suspicion and they confiscate your devices and they force you to give them your
Passcode.
right. So you give them the passcode and it loads up your device. But the apps and content are safe content that supports your cover, right? Your cover because
Right.
so, and you have multiple personalities too, right? So you can have literally 5 entirely different phones on your phone. You type in passcode 1234 and it shows tons of pictures of cats, right? And a disturbing amount of Sailor Moon videos.
Hey.
But instead you type in passcode 5678 and you have all your illicit content, communications for contracts, all that. I mean, you should probably store those Sailor Moon videos in a personality.
My daughter uses my phone.
I'm not judging. And those furry videos.
You saw those?
Hey.
Those are Jaime. That's amazing how the criminal network has stayed on pace with technology and how it can mirror non-criminal life. So what kind of illicit apps are you talking about?
Well, all kinds. I mean, there are marketplace apps, kind of like shopping apps or dating apps to connect you to products or services. People, they can get your job done, facilitate escrow, manage disputes, licensing.
Licensing?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the descendants of Kallinikos still receive royalties for each use of Greek fire even today.
So when you mentioned marketplace, like shopping for assassins?
Yeah. And it's not just for assassins, death insurance, exfil, disinformation, persuasion, security, dossiers, leveling, all sorts of things.
Leveling.
Yeah. So murder there's always some risk, right? Because authorities kind of have to look into it if it's not done right? Which, it's not easy to do, right? So it's more expensive, but leveling is, it's essentially just tearing apart someone's life, get them fired, put them in debt, ruin their marriage, change their sexual preferences, trigger mental illness, things that if you experience them, you would not think that they're weapons being used against you.
Wow.
Yeah, triggering addictions is easy. Getting a guy to cheat or a woman to alter their sexual preferences, it's very easy to do. Okay, let's say you're looking for an assassin.
Oh, cool.
So this app, does it have... No, yeah, okay, it has profiles, okay. So here is an ad. The only thing lower than my standards are my boot daggers. DM me for all your body part needs. I usually respond with an hour or less. Oh, I usually respond within the hour unless I'm practicing my stabbing. So let me sort by price. Okay, here's one. Okay, someday I will take care of your child, but for now I will... Oh, wait, wrong category.
Does she kill children?
Well, so here's one. So okay. Okay, so this is a profile of a company. It's called The company's called Surprise Bitches. That's cute. Okay. Your one-stop shop for all your illicit needs. Organs, murder, revenge, exploits, entrapment, inception. We do it all with a money-back guarantee. Need an alibi? No problem. Body double? No problem. Faux family? No problem. Recipient of the Machiavelli Award for 3 years running. Rated #1 in customer service, Shiv Digest. Rated #1 in customer service. Shiv Digest recently hailed our service as a punch in the face. We do everything from alternate identities to extermination of cities up to 100,000 people. Wow.
Whoa, that took a turn. Is that real?
What, the profile?
Well, yeah, but I mean, you can't kill 100,000 people.
Oh, sure you can. I mean, first you could do it kinetically, right? For sure. But that's not that common because that would bring a lot of attention, right? So, but you might do something to the effect of tricking a nation to attack another nation.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But what happens mostly, like what this probably is, it's probably like a slow process. So, you need to destroy a city over the course of 20 years.
Oh.
Yeah, you can't see it, but it starts with an X. It's not EX. So it's kind of like a category for all sorts of things. It's not literally just killing, but transforming, I guess you could say. So killing a way of life, for example, or an ideology.
But do people actually do that?
Yeah, oh yeah. Most civilizations that ended abruptly, it's attributed to, purpose.
But nowadays, is that a real thing?
Sure, look at the IPCC. Well, look at something smaller. Look at China, right? They're dumping fentanyl into the U.S. The second largest economy is flooding the largest economy with extremely lethal drugs. You think that's coincidence?
Yeah, no, I don't.
Yeah, they're killing 100,000 people every year.
Well, they claim that the U.S. should reduce their demand for
it. Yeah, but it's addictive, right?
Yeah. I guess, flooding somewhere with an addictive lethality is...
Well, it's murder, right? Come on.
Yeah, I guess it is.
You guys are in the middle of a war and you can't even admit it. Probably 1 million casualties so far.
Man. So does Amaretto have an army, like a private army?
Well, I'm sure there are, private armies on there, but Amaretto doesn't themselves. But so what is more common would be to leverage an existing army against whatever your target is, like another country. I mean, right now, I know of an Operation Canis Venatici, that involves major U.S. parties.
Really?
Yeah.
What's it about?
Well, so your Democrats have a problem right now in that Trump hasn't started any new wars.
Well, I don't think they're pro-war.
Well, okay, I'm aware of the reasoning on this. I'm not involved with it, but I dated a girl in marketing for the company that took it on, and she's familiar with the thinking. So the thinking is that if Trump doesn't start any new war over, 4, 8 years, whatever, and if a Democrat replaces Trump, the fear is adversaries like Russia, China, Iran, and others would understand that there would be great pressure on the Democrat president to not start a new war, right? Because that would look absolutely horrible if Trump hadn't started any new wars.
Oh, yeah.
So, right, Putin, Xi, others, they might see that as an opportunity to get away with, or try to get away with, more than they could otherwise, right? Because a post-no-war Trump Democrat would want to avoid that juxtaposition at all costs, right? I mean, you might remember Putin went into Georgia in 2008.
Oh, yeah. I actually remember that because it was on the opening day of the Beijing Olympics.
Yeah.
And Bush and Putin, I believe, were sitting side by side at the opening ceremonies. And, so there was, speculation if they talked about what was going on or...
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So these leaders, they test their boundaries, see how much pushback they'll get with any other leader. With Georgia, I think Russia pulled back like in a week. Because of Bush, who knows? But then in Ukraine, Crimea, they waltzed right in and took whatever they wanted, right? So the thought is if Trump doesn't start any new war, it'll put any Democrat immediately following him had very high potential of either a new war or allowing maps to be redrawn again. Bad for Democrats either way.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy.
Oh, okay. There's also ratings and reviews too, right? So you can see if other clients are happy. So for surprise bitches, here are some reviews. Okay. Surprise bitches exceeded my expectations from start to finish. Hank in customer service quickly understood our needs and connected us with the great assassin in a few days. And that was with submitting the ticket on a Friday, so yada, 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 yada.
That's so funny that there's such detailed reviews.
Veronica, the assassin, was very patient and also quickly understood our needs. She executed the job on time and even threw in alibis for us, which is great. But in all honesty, I wish I would have known beforehand because that could have potentially conflicted with our actual alibis should we had needed it. But I don't know, perhaps she knew what we were doing anyway, but I'm just putting that out there so you can bring this up on your own, for your own projects. This is not a complaint. If I could rate this company 10 stars, I would, but we're only allowed 5. We'll definitely use again. So, yeah. 5 stars. My dog always hates his morning walk, but with his product saved. Oh, no.
Fake review?
Yeah, like any product, you have to deal with human nature.
So was the other review fake then too?
No, probably not. It could also be a competitor leaving a fake review for the purpose of undermining the other reviews.
Yeah.
But, companies are vetted, so, they're legit. This was a freelancer, then, unless they're verified, of course. Jeez.
What?
Spelling mistakes. It's a pet peeve of mine.
Oh, I know. It's like, who doesn't have spell check nowadays?
Well, no. I mean, spell checkers are kind of stupid too. I mean, they'll happily skip over things that they really should be able to flag.
Well, if the word's not in the dictionary, they can't do anything about that.
No. I mean, like these here. I mean, look, there has never been and will never be a fort he. It's obviously supposed to be for the.
Yeah. Right.
Just flag it, right?
Yeah.
All fort he's. Flag them as possible issues. I mean, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
These programmers, they think they're clever, but, water for the ocean. Anyway, don't get me started on that.
So, carfentanil is the assassin's weapon of choice. I find that scary.
Well, I mean, it's popular, but I would not say it's the weapon of choice. I mean, it's also very easy to give people MRSA.
MRSA. Oh, the infection?
Yeah. Ticks in their bed.
Oh, man. That is... So, like a spout? No, they get it too.
No, so what most people don't understand is that break-ins are vastly underreported because many people don't even know they've been broken into. So you normally know you've been burglarized because something's missing or there's broken glass.
Yeah.
But there are many break-ins where nothing's missing. And in fact, so let's say someone is a target. The first thing a professional will do is look for open entry. So they'll see if the person has open windows, leaves their doors unlocked, even car doors. And if they do, they just take advantage of that, right? Like put ticks on their car seat or inject MRSA into food eaten cold. Spike coffee grounds with dyed brown pure caffeine. Easy things like that.
Man, that is scary.
Yeah. This is going to shock you, and this is not from research, but I'd guesstimate that at least a quarter of all regular deaths are murder.
25%.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, at least. And I'm referring to the deaths that are already not flagged as murder. So a quarter of all other deaths.
Wow. I still can't believe you're into all this. I mean, I remember when you're a good-looking guy, like, and now you wear a mask all the time. I mean, in fact, you reminded me of Brad Pitt, like Meet Joe Black Brad Pitt.
Oh, I hated that movie.
What? You hated Meet Joe Black? That was a great movie.
It started out good, but I couldn't finish it.
What?
Yeah, as soon as I found out he was actually an IRS agent, I just turned it off. I mean, that's messed up, right? They call me a
No,
crook.
no, no, no. He wasn't an IRS agent.
Yeah, he admitted to it.
No, he was an angel.
That was his cover. But anyway, about this mask, you know why I wear this, don't you?
You need to finish that movie.
I refuse to normalize the IRS.
Did you bring those?
They were just in there.
No. I thought it was to protect your identity.
Well, yeah, but from whom? Mostly from Dominick Paul. You know how they can locate so many people, right? They can only locate you, well, precisely locate you through your own reflection. Yeah, they can instantly locate you when you see your own reflection of your Paul.
So why don't you want to be located?
Well, it's not so much that, but look, I assist the UU, right? I do them favors to keep in their good graces. You know, like in the past, for example, I've rounded up classic works of art that accidentally captured Dominick Paul in it. You know, works by the masters that modern society have no idea even exist. Or painted over Dominick Paul's in works where it was impossible to take, you know, at least at the time. But let's just say I'm not sure the UU or the D class is being entirely honest with us.
Dominick's?
Well, okay. So they are D class, right? But why do you think Dominick Paul is a Dominick?
Well, it's his name.
Yeah, right. But how do you know his name?
He told. Okay, right. I don't know, but you know he's not a normal Paul, right? I mean, he's destroyed
galaxies. I know. However, so okay, I don't want to be found because I'm looking into all this. You know, I've found some interesting things that I don't know are accurate, but I want to find out.
Like what?
Well, first, the D class, I don't think those are Dominics. I think the D class are destroyers, a destroyer class.
So there's no such thing as Dominics?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I think there are Dominics, but they're not a class. They're not part of the UU. I think Dominics exist as anomalies, a sort of bug in the system. I think the UU has commandeered the idea of Dominics and put an identity to these people, like Paul, to hide that fact. So maybe these true Dominics won't realize who they are themselves. I actually think the UU doesn't fully understand Dominics. They don't know how they fit in, you know, or why they're here. I think some of them in the UU are scared that they might be dangerous.
So who are the Dominics?
I don't know. Let me ask you something. Why does Dominick Paul like you so much?
He likes all of us. I even brought that up. We talked about that when he was here.
He likes all of us?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying that recovering Gray was innate. And Marianne?
So what are you saying?
Well, I can't do those things. Do you know another Paul that can?
I'm sure you guys are special.
But who are we? Maybe you are Dominick Paul.
No. What? No.
How did you make Gray? Or Marianne?
Dominick Paul granted me.
He granted you the ability to create them. But how do you know you couldn't have created them anyway?
Well, I had never done anything like that before. So how could that be? How could I carve Gray without ever having learned to carve? I mean, that would have...
If you were a Dominick, would that explain it?
Well, no, because Dominick Paul... Come on, man.
I don't know. I don't. I'm just saying, I've been looking into things. I have questions. Questions about Dominics, the UU, Root, Mythologians, a reboot of Sex and the City. I just have questions. And I'm playing it safe with regards to the UU, you know, in the Destroyer class.
Wait. Hold on. Are you talking about a reboot with new actors or like the original cast? Where are they today?
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
I can't be a Dominic. No way. There's no way.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Gray and Marianne, those are powerful weapons. Why would someone who could do that leave them with you in your hands? Unless, I mean, I don't know.
I need a drink. You want something?
No, I have water. I don't drink alcohol.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you religious?
No, not particularly. But I mean, alcohol is, are we just supposed to pretend like sparkling cran grape doesn't exist?
Yeah, that is awesome. I'll give you that. Do we have any? I don't think we do. No. A good liquor is an acquired taste.
Yeah, like hops, I hear.
Oh, no. Hops is not an acquired taste. Trust me. Thank you.
Do you have the time?
You have a heart out?
No, I got to make a call at 4, though.
It's 2 after.
2 after what?
Noon.
So it's only noon?
No, it's 2.
Anyway, so now, and I don't know how you feel about this, but for me, my personal preference is for it to be the original cast, as a where are they now kind of thing.
Yeah, that would be my preference too. But they would have to walk on eggshells, around so many subjects that, for young men and women nowadays.
Yeah, exactly.
Such strange times, man.
Yeah.
So many people are walking on eggshells. So many influential people to whom so much has been given, being so careless unnecessarily.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're referring to Brie.
Yeah, that was disappointing. All the unnecessary drama. I still bought it. It was okay. Marvel makes good movies, but I wish the drama wasn't attached. I might have enjoyed it more.
Right. Yeah, that could have never worked out well.
Well, she could have said the same thing, but chosen better words.
Oh yeah, right. But her character is in the farthest tier, so that would have been quite precarious no matter what.
Tier, like level? I don't know anything about comics.
No. Well, so our hierarchy of the modern superhero are into 3 tiers based on their proximity to us.
What are the 3 tiers?
Well, at the closest, most treasured base level, you have, for example, Batman and Iron Man, or say Lara Croft. These are essentially just human beings like you and me. They're always brave, or maybe they become brave.
Right.
And they are always highly intelligent, right? Take Tony Stark, for example. He's highly intelligent. Bruce Wayne, Lara Croft, also highly intelligent. They might also have other smart people helping them out, and of that.
They're rich too.
Yes, I was just going to say that. They are rich, but being rich was really just a plot convenience, They didn't just say, oh, hey, what should I do with all this money? Oh, I know, I'll be brave and smart. No, the wealth is just that their characters need a way to turn their intelligence into reality in the form of robots or tools or tech, or whatever.
Yeah, right.
I mean, you could have had, and in fact, maybe there is. I'm not a comic book guy either. But maybe there is someone who had to figure out a way with less, you know what I mean? But that is a feature of that person's story, which is different than these people's story. That's all.
Right.
So Tony Stark, Lara Croft, Bruce Wayne, they are very, very close to you and me. We could become them. That is possible, right? Look at Elon Musk. He read books to learn how to build rockets.
Right.
So we hold these superheroes very close to us. They're very easy to admire and relate to.
Yeah, those characters endure well. They're well liked.
Yes, and if these actors who play them carry themselves fairly in society, the relationship with the features of their human counterpart in the films transpose onto them. Like they can feed each other.
Yes, that's true. If Robert Downey Jr. was a jerk, it would hurt both Iron Man and Robert.
Right. So the next level upward, and therefore further from us, is, say, godlike superheroes. These are heroes where their superpowers are a part of who or where they're from. So like Thor or Wonder Woman, right? Their powers are closer to no powers. But when they're juxtaposed next to humans, they appear like powers.
Okay. So their super strength is sort of normal for their people or for their species.
Yeah. And it doesn't hurt, those two in particular, that they happen to look like human beings. That's a plus. They look like us. If Wonder Woman was 20 feet tall, she'd be less relatable, less liked.
Yeah, that'd be that'd be weird.
And so, and it also doesn't hurt that some of their powers might be activated by worthiness, right? Like, for example, Thor's hammer.
Oh yeah, right. I forgot about that.
So there is some human-looking person who should be worthy, a very human concept, and they actually don't really have powers, but to us, they do.
But they have some powers.
Yeah, sure, but a lot of times they don't even know they have these extra powers, until much later, after they already are who they are.
Right.
Now, when Thor or Wonder Woman says or does something, it is less impactful for us, right? Because they are farther away from who you and I could possibly be. Remember, we're closer to Tony Stark and Laura Croft.
Okay, yeah, totally. Yeah.
So finally, we get to the superheroes that are the furthest from us. And those are the ones where their powers were essentially gifted to them. So like the Hulk and Captain Marvel. These characters, while they might even be human, right? They stumbled onto their powers, maybe by accident.
Right.
These superheroes are the least impactful, right? Because we cannot choose to become them like we could Laura Croft. And these people are not quote unquote normal, at least to their species, like Wonder Woman.
When you say impactful, do you mean in the movies or in real life?
Well, both really. Robert Downey or Angelina Jolie, they can make more mistakes as long as their core self is still being fair to all people, right? They will still be held up high and admired. But Mark Ruffalo and Brie Larson, if they're not fair, they'll take more heat because their characters are completely superficial, right?
Right.
Laura Croft chose to be Laura Croft. Bruce Wayne chose to be Batman.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah, I would give Robert Downey Jr. more time and thought if I were going to be critical of him. I mean, Robert seems very, very fair.
Yeah, right.
But that could be a side effect of him just not being political. I think, I don't follow it, but I believe Mark Ruffalo is pretty political.
Yeah, I think so. And he gains no additional respect from playing the Hulk, right? Because his character is gifted everything.
But Mark Ruffalo is not summed up by a cartoon character.
No. But that's how we know him. That's why we know him, right? How and why you know someone has its own gravity, okay? If you don't escape it, you have to live in it, right? So, for example, I think Robert Downey Jr. is better than Tony Stark, a better person. But Mark Ruffalo, he's just, it's just faint.
Okay. Yeah, right.
And Brie Larson would have it worse, right? Because from what I understand, her character, Captain Marvel, has like the most powers of them all, I believe, right? Isn't she like the most powerful superhero in Marvel? I could be wrong.
I get that impression, but I'm not sure.
So someone like Brie Larson would have to outwardly express herself in the most fair and non-judgmental way. Because not only is her biggest character the most distant from us, right, the furthest tier, but also she's given the most powers. So someone like Angelina Jolie, she has the headroom to be more critical and at the same time be accurately received, to be heard, and not dismissed.
Oh, okay, I see. But you can't say to someone, I mean, that they can't be proactive. I mean, it's a free country.
Well, yeah, but consider this. Consider the admiration of a god, right? In fact, the most powerful god, a being to all that was given. And instantly they cast judgment upon you directly or indirectly, regardless if it's true or fair. That's a horrible god.
Oh, yeah. I can see how we have a lot of respect for Angelina Jolie, and we give her our ear, even if we disagree, right? Because she seems fair. She seems careful, like from what I remember of her.
Yes, she is, as are most of our beloved treasures. And Angelina's a very smart person, right? She understands that when she says something, 1 billion people will hear her, right? And she understands that of all the different ways to say something, she wants to be associated with fairness and understanding. And I think that's because she wants us to be more fair and understanding.
Yeah, that just made a ton of sense. I mean, that's kind of that's leaderly.
Yeah.
It's like the difference of telling somebody to be a certain way, but also just being that way yourself.
Exactly. By the nature of their stardom, when they speak, if they are not precise, the side effect is 1 billion people hear it. So they're always talking to a billion people, whether they like it or not. Angelina Jolie understands that, and that's why her characters are elevated by her.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Angelina Jolie has 100 times the impact of Mark Ruffalo.
Right.
And take Gal Gadot. I think she's quite close in nature to Angelina Jolie. And her superhero character, it's just one tier removed from Lara Croft, right? So Gal Gadot is more closer to Angelina Jolie than to Mark Ruffalo in terms of being heard.
Yeah, I think you're right, dude. But is heard the right word?
Yeah, well, I think there's a better word. It's just not coming to mind. Maybe credible. I don't know. That's not right either. Maybe, I don't know. But that's key, right? The moment you treat somebody unfairly, your own voice becomes weaker and has a much smaller chance of being heard.
Heard, yeah. I get that. It's kind of like, do you want somebody to hear your words, or do you want somebody to have to deal with all these hurdles you've created and maybe not even hear your words?
Yeah, right. One's proximity to us, combined with their perceived fairness, makes them somebody you listen to, right? But that person is free to conjure up hurdles, and those hurdles will make them less heard.
Yeah, so it's like they represent those who you might listen to versus those you might actually hear.
Yeah, I think so. Angelina Jolie, in my view, is a voice that is trustworthy, whereas Mark Ruffalo is just noise, And I do think it's in part because of the characters they are most known for and the way in which they talk to 1 billion people, right? Talking to 1,000 people is different than talking to 1 billion people.
Yeah. Well, in fairness, Angelina's had like a ton of great characters.
Yeah. And I'm sure she had a lot to do with choosing them, And obviously, she has a lot to do with whatever comes out of her mouth, right? Just like all of them do.
Yeah. And, I get all the Marvel movies anyways. They're all well made. They're all fun. But what Brie Larson said offline, the way she chose to say something that could have been said 1,000 different ways. It was just so unfortunate.
I agree, yeah. She could have been twice as impactful by just changing a few words. Instead, we have divisiveness.
Yeah. And I couldn't figure out why, but I think now it's because, like you said, she's like the third tier from us. All things being equal, I probably would have not been as disappointed had Angelina Jolie said literally her exact same words.
Yeah, but she would have likely chosen a few different words. You know what I mean? And all sides, everybody would have admired her opinion, and her stance.
Personally, I think Marvel should have instead made a movie about Shuri, Black Panther's sister. I don't know the comic source material or anything like that, but to me, and after hearing you explain the tiers, Shuri would have been, she'd have been, like Iron Man or Lara Croft. Like, she's smart and brave.
Yeah, that would have been a fantastic movie. That would be a true first tier inspiration, in fact, right? Now that Robert's gone.
Right.
It's possible, like if Shuri would have been Black Panther originally, she might have replaced Iron Man, and thinking about it.
Yeah. With Robert gone, the closest thing to Iron Man, in fact, an exact replacement would be Shuri Black Panther. That would have been probably a better movie than the Black Panther and Captain Marvel that we got. But I did like Black Panther. It's tough, because you have...
Yeah, I like Black Panther too, but it's almost like Captain Marvel shone a spotlight on what Black Panther could have been. Seriously, as big or bigger than the original Iron Man.
Oh, yeah, totally. Can you imagine a Shuri... that would have been the ultimate. Especially because up until that point, there'd been no major representation for blacks or women.
Right. Man, Marvel really missed that opportunity.
Yeah, Shuri Black Panther could have perhaps, could have made the next phase even better than the last phase. Because, who do you have now in the first tier?
Well, I'm not sure Black Panther's first tier exactly. Because, he has to eat that flower.
Oh, right, yeah. Well, but Shuri actually, technically, when you think about it, there's nothing stopping Shuri without the heart-shaped herb to be essentially like Tony Stark. Like, she has her brain.
Yeah, right. Black Panther was great, the guy. But he was just brave and good. He's more akin to, say, Captain America, even though Captain America's on the second tier.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. You need that first tier trifecta, right? You absolutely. I mean, vulnerable human, brave, ultra smart.
Yeah, ultra smart is key because that's purpose, right? That's authorship. That's the ingredient that says you authored your destiny on purpose. You made yourself more, right?
Right.
Bravery is just you're willing to do more. Like, I don't know who that's going to be now.
But I mean, I could also see Marvel having that conversation, about Black Panther and opting not to do a Shuri movie.
Why?
Well, and I don't know any of the source material, but it would seem to me that the movie they made honored that culture really good.
African culture?
Yeah, yeah, because that culture is ancient, right? And it's steeped in the tribal. The idea of the village where you have roles and all the roles pitch in to keep that village going, right?
Okay.
So in the Black Panther that was made, you saw that, right? I mean, Shuri was like this genius, even though she's brave and all that, and you had her being that part of that village.
Oh, yeah.
And T'Challa, he was brave, and that was him being that part of that village. And that's why Black Panther played out more like Avengers. With the other tribe and the fighting that was essentially
Yeah, yeah. Oh, damn. That does change it a lot. Wow, I can't believe I didn't realize that.
yeah. So that would have been a tough call, right? I mean, a perfect trifecta with Shuri as a lead, or something that honored the Black culture completely.
Yeah, I can see that. But was that lost on a lot of people today, or?
The difference?
Yeah.
No, I think that was at least for most audiences. And they struck a balance for younger people and other audiences that was really for everybody, that was move on from legacy, right? Because that's what leaders do, right? They move their people forward.
Yeah, but Avengers, I mean, the name kind
Well,
of.
but look, what did they do? They didn't wave a magic wand and make everybody's problems disappear, right? They could have. The Hulk could have used the stones again, or Captain Marvel, right? She could have just deleted cancer.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Captain Marvel could have probably wielded the stones easily.
Yeah, but instead, they simply restored what was, right? With all its damage, with all its unfairness and sorrow, like people who were otherwise terminally ill, they came back to their personal challenges, right? To their dire conditions.
Yeah, right, right.
I mean, I'm sure there's tons of meaning in Black Panther, the one we had. But the true meaning, the meaning all viewers consumed, was moving forward, right? In a world of a billion variables colliding with a billion variables daily, judgment becomes subjective. Like, all any of us can do is move forward.
I mean, I think either movie would have been good. And a Shuri Black Panther would not have been a misstep for women like Captain Marvel was.
I don't think women see Captain Marvel as a misstep. I mean, it made a lot of money.
But all these movies make $1 billion now. I mean, in my opinion, Captain Marvel is cheap compared to what a movie that focused on Shuri could have been, right? It's authorship versus luck. Luck is cheap. Luck is flimsy, right? Authorship is true power, right? Shuri is true power.
Yeah, well, in that comparison, yeah, it does seem kind of cheap. I mean, I'm white. As a white guy that ignores race, to me, a Shuri Black Panther, that would have been the ultimate, right? Because we can become Shuri, like you and I can become Shuri, right? And Shuri can make herself anything. We can't be Thor or Captain Marvel, but we can be Shuri, right? And that's why she and other heroes like that inspire. Like, you might dress up as Captain Marvel on Halloween, but you live your life trying to be Shuri, right? Tony Stark or Bruce Wayne. But, I mean, I don't know much about Black culture, so when I think about it, a Shuri Black Panther is probably selfish, right? Because I'm thinking about my frame, right? Like myself. The Black Panther we got was probably the better thing.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. It's really, I'm not a comic book guy either, you know. Maybe there are other characters that would have been better to have introduced by now. Women.
Yeah. The only inspiring woman or person actually in the MCU currently, to me, is Shuri.
Yeah, right.
Don't get me wrong. There's Marvel has plenty of great female characters, right? But I mean, look, Thor doesn't inspire me, right? I'm not referring to genders and latex. I'm talking about inspiration.
Right, yeah. There's a lot of great female characters in the MCU.
And no matter the gender, unless there's a first tier, as you say, leader, you know, like Gravity, the movies don't work.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you have to resort to comedies now to make them work. Like they're doing with Thor and Guardians, which are great.
Oh yeah. Right. Ragnarok was great. I mean, that was the best Thor in my opinion. But yeah, you can't take a tier 2 or tier 3 character seriously, right? It's kind of like Superman. You can't take Superman seriously.
Yeah, yeah. You can't relate to Superman.
No. Yeah. Shuri, man. It's Shuri.
Shuri. And I think you're right what you said earlier. If Marvel cannot make a Shuri Black Panther, maybe they can make her something better, something new, something better than even Iron Man.
That would be incredible if they did that. Like, that's a silver bullet. Like, take Shuri and make her into something new. Like, I don't know, maybe she is a character, some other character in the Marvel universe. I don't know, but if they were to take her and make her a totally brand new character in real time before our eyes, like a new leader, that would be epic. Yeah. I mean, that's the gravity they need in the new phase. I'm surprised you're into movies.
Why? I'm surprised you're a feminist.
Oh, I'm a flaming feminist. In fact, I think women are better at everything. They should be in charge of everything.
Wow.
I'll go a step even further than that. Not only should women be in charge of everything, they should have every job. Yeah, women should get all jobs, 100% of jobs, because they're better at everything.
I don't think that's a good
Oh,
idea.
you think women shouldn't be in the workplace?
No.
You think men are better than women?
No.
Okay, then we agree. Women should have all jobs.
Okay, but what are you going to do? Don't you need money?
Well, yeah, but I get universal basic income.
Well, what are you going to do with your time?
Someone has to make sure the Roomba doesn't get stuck. And I don't know, play Xbox, maybe catch up on Rorschach Monthly.
Anyway, so why didn't you think I'd be into movies?
I don't know. I just assumed you lived in a lair and plotted and planned all day.
Nah, I love movies and TV.
What shows do you like?
Anything with a fourth dimension character in it.
What are fourth dimension TV characters?
Well, not just TV, but they work best on a series. Successful and beloved shows almost always have some degree of fourth dimension character in them because in real life, they're the people we like the most. They jolt you into a new frame that's like outside of normal. And you can't help but end up trusting them more than perhaps you should. They're really just creating a new frame for us to deal with and for us to put trust in them in.
I can't think of many shows that deal with dimensions.
No, so these characters are always honest. They always tell the truth as they understand it. And their truth, no matter how ridiculous it sounds, is almost always revealed to be accurate, at least to them. So this would be like, say, Woody in Cheers, or Lowell in Wings, or Kramer in Seinfeld, right? Tracy Jordan in 30 Rock.
These people are honest?
Yeah, so no matter what comes out of their mouths, they aren't lying. I mean, they might tell a lie from time to time, but it would be rare and mostly from embarrassment. For example, if Tracy Jordan said something crazy, like my alligator is being sued and my zebra wants to represent him, normally everybody would dismiss him as being crazy. But then in some later scene, you would see a glimpse of a lawyer telling Tracy, Mr. Stripes can no longer represent your alligator because it was eaten by his client.
Yeah, okay.
So in some small way, it would show that whatever came out of Tracy's mouth was in fact reality.
Okay, right. But Woody on Cheers?
Yeah, so the characters I mentioned, there are various degrees of fourth dimension, right? Lowell might be the least. Woody would probably be next. Woody would frequently sound confused or naive, but then he'd immediately double down with some alternatively revealing statement that shines a totally different light on what he said and makes it somehow more true than false.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right.
Or in some later scene, it would just be revealed that he was right. So with Woody and Lowell, it was treated as if they were naive or confused, right? Yeah. Kramer was received as being wacky or untethered. Tracy, uh, essentially a type of uber wealth dementia. He would just say something crazy, but he also had the power himself to make sense of his absurdity, and in fact, sometimes, usually, be the most sane person there, right? I mean, now that I think about it, look, our daily reality is not based on facts and information. It's based on perception. We don't walk around fully informed.
Right.
So maybe these fourth dimension characters are kind of like hydration for our brains, when consuming fiction. Like, oh yeah, I'm an absurd person too. I'm just trying to make sense of my world too. And often Woody and Tracy and Kramer would be revealed to be the most accurate people in the conversation, though they might have seemingly got there by accident. People are attracted to these characters, and they excel in environments where there's only one fourth dimension character.
What about like Mork on Mork and Mindy?
So Mork was a character literally from another dimension. I'm referring to people that are exactly like us, but that see things differently than the way the viewer sees things. So it's a bit of a Trojan horse, which helps it be novel.
Those are all great characters, yeah.
Yeah, so even Coach, remember? Before Woody, he was like that as well. So you can see that there was purpose, And I don't know, the industry might have a name for these types of characters. I just refer to them as fourth dimension characters. And it's probably a bad name. But they're essentially characters that knock your frame of view around, from time to time. It can be subtle, like with Lowell. But they're like smelling salts. They make you pay more attention to everything else. I bet you like those characters, right?
Yeah, I mean, everybody liked those characters.
Right, exactly. Those were likely the most favored among viewers, and that's not a coincidence.
Yeah, that's interesting. I did like all those shows, actually, and all those characters. Those were like the best of the best. But great shows like that have a lot of good characters.
Yeah, right, that's true. Tina Fey, Tony Shalhoub.
Right.
What was your favorite TV show?
Oh, man. I loved Wings and Cheers. All the ones you mentioned, 30 Rock, Rock. You remember Rock?
Oh, yeah. In the 90s. Charles Sutton.
Dutton. Yeah, that was a good show. They don't make them like that anymore.
Right.
But I have to say my favorite was probably, you probably never heard of this, but it's probably a show called Chuck.
I never saw that. Is that a comedy?
Yeah, I think it would be a comedy, like a dramedy. I don't know. But it was, to me, it was like a rom-com. And I love rom-coms.
Oh my God, I love rom-coms too. Sweet Home Alabama, Hope Floats, New in Town.
Oh, I love New in Town.
Really, anything with Harry Connick Jr. in it. You can put Harry Connick Jr. in a tank full of sharks, and I'd dive right in. I love that guy.
Yeah, I like him too. But Chuck was a TV show that hit that mix really well. And I could also say that Chuck was probably the best love story of all time.
Wow, the best love story of all time? Not Affair to Remember, or Roman Holiday, or Sleepless in Seattle?
Yeah, no, it's so good. It's so funny. Absolutely cute and hilarious. The whole cast is great. And so the thing about the show is look, you watch it and you think, well, this is a great romantic comedy, with drama wrapped in a spy thriller. And that's what you think. But then, so I think the actors were getting noticed, and other projects were calling. So they got a shortened 5th season. And what they did was phenomenal.
What did they do?
So you had this great, fun, romantic comedy. And then in the 5th season, they were so creative. You essentially relive the entire romantic comedy, all the while putting it in jeopardy. And so then on the very last episode, you relive it again. And in the final minute, you essentially relive it again.
Really?
Yeah, it was like a Russian nesting doll, right? It's like everything you love, nested in everything you love, nested in everything you love. I mean, and the actors did such a great job summarizing, their entire journey into smaller and smaller parts until, at some point where you then face this unknown. But the process had repeated itself so much that you're left feeling, it's almost like you knew that even though the universe was ending, you knew it would be recreated again. So what you loved would exist again and again and again, no matter what.
Wow.
Yeah, I love that show so much. I've never seen somebody fall in love with the same person they're falling out of love with. I mean, it was just so amazing. I mean, you know, and now that I think about it, it's almost like you were watching them grow old, like in a way. Like they grew old together right before your eyes without actually growing old.
They lived a lifetime.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't want to give it away, but you really experienced a lifetime of a great love over a very short time frame. I mean, it was so wonderful, everything about it.
I'll have to check that out.
You won't be disappointed.
So, who's your favorite actor?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, there's so many. I really like entertainment in general. You know what I mean? I like it all. So that's why I hate it when outside stuff kind of interferes with that. You know, with that love. You know, like with Brie. But I can tell you who I most admire. I mean, I think this person is like a real hero, right? A true hero.
Who?
Peter Dinklage.
Oh, yeah, I love him. Yeah, a hero, huh?
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I remember as a young guy, like on basic cable, seeing Station Agent. And it's not a movie a young guy, like, in his 20s would normally see. It was like kind of art house.
Yeah.
But I saw it and I was just struck by him, like, he has dwarfism, but you totally forget about that entirely. You don't see it. And I was just so struck by that. And, until then, really, the entertainment industry used dwarfs. Is that an okay term to use?
I think it is.
Little people, in a way that made it the subject matter, and that's fine if that's what the movie was about, but not usually what it was about. And so it sort of trapped them and limited their impact, and it limited them.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, this dude's gonna be a superstar, right? I mean, you can't help but become the characters he plays. And I got this, like I remember distinctively when I saw Bryan Cranston in an X-Files an episode called Drive. And there's just this feeling, you go, this guy's going to be huge.
Yeah.
It's distinctive. When you feel it, it's like, you recognize it. Like when Tony Shalhoub played a one-off part on Wings in season 2. I mean, you just wanted to jump in the TV and keep him there forever. I mean, you just knew he was going to be huge. And he ended up being a regular in the very next season. And I mean, look, Monk, I mean, he's done so many great things.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember walking into Osh one day, and I was with somebody, and they had like a patio display. And there was this funky looking chair. And so I sit in it, and instantly my mind says, wow, I'm in space, right? Like it was so incredibly comfortable. I thought I was floating in space. And so I told the person, hey, you got to try this. I got out. And so I got up and I was looking around and I saw the box and it was called Zero Gravity Chair. And I was just blown away at how exact it was. I mean, I was in space, but Tony Shalhoub and Bryan Cranston, Peter Dinklage, they can pull you in and say, this is it, right? This is real. This is what matters. And, I can imagine for Peter to accomplish that, he had to have more hurdles than most people. And, there are, of course, more people with more hurdles than him, too.
Yeah.
But for him to have made it through whatever he had to go through in life, to get here, to accomplish that level of being able to author a reality where you can't even see, like, literally this huge difference that's 100% visual. I mean...
That's some ninja stuff right there.
Yeah. I mean... He's the tallest guy in anything he's a part of. Well, like major characters he has. I mean, he towered over everybody in Game of Thrones. I mean, it was just surreal to watch him. So, I mean, to me, he's like a superhero, right? I mean, I don't know his story, but I can imagine it's flush with signs turning him away from his path. But he did it. That's craftsmanship, perseverance, will. I mean, it's inspirational. I mean, he's the epitome of what matters, right? Like the one thing you would think would matter, the one thing you would think would keep him from mattering, he defeats it in real time eternally. That's inspiration. I mean, it's inspiration just for him to survive, to be honest, to get married, to have a family. But he did more than that. He became one of the best of us. I mean, he's proof that all of us are living well below our true potential, right? Because he is floating cities. He is living in space.
Get a room.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if all of us did what we do as good as Peter does what he does, we'd be on other planets right now.
Yeah, right. I get what you're saying. Like Elon.
Right. And it's not like I, as an average person, can become a doctor. It's anyone can become anything. Like people like Elon and Peter, they conquer the limitations imposed on all of us.
Yeah, right.
To Peter and Shuri,
Yeah.
what is hopefully the future of mankind.
Now, I hear the little one, Lily, she's a bit into my milieu.
Oh yeah, she's my little conspiracy theorist. Yeah. I have a feeling she's ordering some illicit weapons online. I'm not sure though. But apparently she's into crypto and all
What
this.
makes you say she's a conspiracy theorist?
Well, look at this. I just recorded this the other day. Jack, Lily. What is this? What the?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. She knows about that?
You know, it started out innocently enough. Just bought her a ball of yarn, let her play with it.
Right.
But, you know, you can't watch them 24/7. You know, you can't control her every second of the day. You know, is she just playing with that ball of yarn? Is she hiding some away in her room? You know, do I have the right to go through her things?
Yeah, but how did she get the foam core?
One click.
Yeah.
She's a handful. Man, 3 hours.
Wow.
Wow. You hungry? You want to get an early dinner?
Yeah. I have to make a call first, but yeah. Can we go to Olive Garden?
It's up to you.
And I'd like to see Gray before I leave.
Yeah.
And Marianne. Thanks for doing this, man. This is one of the best intervals yet.
No problem. Thank you. It's been great catching up.
Yeah.
All right. Shut her down. Hey.